Hey there, Internet. I'm Kyle. Apparently, I'm doing another Zelda tier list. So, like I established in the last video, my favorite Zelda game of all time is Majora's Mask. And I thought it would be a pretty interesting idea if I ranked every mask in that game. So, without further ado, let's get to it. For those of you who have never played Majora's Mask, this probably won't make a lot of sense to you. So maybe, I don't know,
Go play it.
but for those of you who have, you'll know what I'm getting at. So for this list, I'm gonna have two main criteria that I'm gonna be judging the masks off of. The first criteria is how useful they are. So, how practical they are, how many times they're relevant in the game or you need them. I will also be considering how dumb looking they are or how awesome they look. That's just purely aesthetics. That one is definitely going to be far more my personal preference than anything else. So without further ado, as you can see, I gave myself a couple more tiers to work with because there's no incomplete here. So we're going all the way from S all the way to F. All right. So what is our first mask? Our first mask is the Night Mask. Okay, so the Night Mask. This mask really only has one use in the entire game, and it is to help you stay up through Grandma's stories. And you know what? Actually, I'm going to backtrack a little bit here. I'm going to include one more piece of criteria. I'm going to include the quest in order to get the mask and how interesting or frustrating that is. So, back to the Night Mask. So the Night Mask only has one use in the entire game. It does net you a heart piece, which is really cool. But basically, its only use is so that you can stay up through Grandma's stories at the oh, what is it? Is it Lockpot Inn? Stockpot Inn? I think it's Stockpot Inn. But it helps you stay awake through her stories as she confuses you with her grandchild. And that does net you a heart piece. But that's not really that useful. On the whole, it's only one time. The way the mask looks, it looks really strange. I don't know if you can see it here, but there's a lot of holes, so it almost looks like you stretched like some kind of spooky pantyhose over your face with beady little eyes. It's kind of cool looking, not the best. And then the quest to get it. You have to buy the mask at the curiosity shop after you stop the thief from getting the bomb bags to sell you. Not that interesting of a quest. I'm gonna rank it a solid E. Like, it's near the bottom. It has a one-time use. It looks okay. The quest to get it is kind of just like an afterthought. It is cool because it's one of the only real items you get to buy there, but still not that interesting. Alright, so we'll move on to our next mask, which is the Bomb Mask. So the Bomb Mask, as far as usefulness, incredibly useful. Like, if you're out of bombs, well, you're never out of bombs. You always have this to use. So, I mean, it does take a little bit of a heart. It takes like a quarter heart every time you use it, but it will get you out of a lot of pinches where you might have accidentally used all your bombs or whatever. Pretty useful throughout the entire game. Aesthetics, it's okay. I mean, it puts a cool little skull right in the middle of your face. It's very bulbous, but I think it looks pretty cool. And then the quest to get it is actually pretty cool. It's a short one. It's part of the larger quest line to get the couple's mask, which I'll get into here in a little bit. Basically, you stop the old lady who runs the bomb shop from getting mugged by the thief, And as a reward, she gives you this and tells you to be careful because it will blow your face off. So I'm gonna rank it a solid B overall. Useful throughout the entire game, not required for anything, and it's not like a game-breaking thing or anything. It looks pretty cool. The quest to get it is pretty good. So it's a pretty good mask. All right, next mask, the Brennan Mask. The only time you actually can use this mask to like actually gain something is at the ranch. You use this to gather a bunch of chicks together while you... So the use of this mask, I guess I should say that. What this does, you put it on, and then it basically turns Link into the marshal of a parade. Like, he starts marching around, and he plays a jaunty tune. Actually, go ahead and just play that jaunty tune right now. So, yeah. You just march around, and it'll make animals follow you, which is kind of cute. But you use it to get all these chickens to follow you around, and they will... Or chicks, more accurately, to follow you around, and then they will slowly turn into chickens. And then you get a heart piece for doing that. Pretty okay. It's kind of like on the Night Mask, though, where it's like, after you do that, there's not a lot you do with it besides it's kind of funny. Aesthetically, it's actually pretty sick. I mean, it gives you a cool, fearsome eagle face with some wings flying off the side. The quest to get it, not that great. You just get it from the organ grinder. Just from an aesthetic standpoint, I'm going to put it above the Night Mask. It's okay. Next mask. Ah, yes. The Skull Mask. I'm trying to remember. Wait, is this the Captain's Mask? Kyle, go ahead and put the name of the mask there so I look smart. Sorry, I actually did no research for this. I'm going all off memory. Whenever you wear it, all the undead will leave you the heck alone, which is really kind of cool, especially in the area you get a Econo Canyon. So it's useful for that. It's not useful throughout the entire game. You kind of get it late, but it is cool. It looks cool. It makes Link look like crazy, scary, undead Link. And the quest to get it is actually super memorable. It's really cool. So you go to the graveyard, and basically you challenge this giant skeleton who is the captain of the ancient Econo army. And you chase him up a hill, and you have to shoot arrows at him and fight him the whole way. And then if you beat him, you get to claim this. And then he basically says, cool, now this skeleton army is your problem. I'm going to rest in peace. So I'm actually going to put this right here with the Bomb Mask, just because I really, really like this mask. I like the quest. Next mask, Donjiro Mask. This one sucks. Giving it an F. It looks dumb too. Alright, so next we'll go with the Great Fairy Mask. Okay, you get this mask pretty early. What it does is, I believe it attracts fairies to you. And that is a big part of getting kind of the completion bonus of this game, which is the Great Fairy Sword. You collect 15 stray fairies in each dungeon, and this helps you find them and get them. As far as aesthetics go, it is terrifying. You put this on, and Link just becomes a scary, gothy lady witch head on a child's body. It's strange. Definitely not one I would rock out in public, but hey, if it's your style, go for it. But for me personally, I'm going to put it right there with the Night Mask. Not that useful. You can collect the fairies without it pretty easily. Alright, so moving right along. Ooh, alright. The Keaton Mask. This has always been kind of a personal favorite of mine. Obviously, it kind of looks like Pikachu, so I liked it for that. But also, As a kid, like, I thought foxes were like the coolest animals. I still think they're really cool. And also, as I've gotten older, like, realizing that Keaton, the fox in the game, is a freaking kitsune is awesome. Useful standpoint, you basically only use it to summon Keaton and answer some trivia questions, and he gives you rewards. Kind of cool. Aesthetics, for me, I love the way it looks. Like, basically in Ocarina of Time, as soon as I had access to it, if I was Kid Link, I was wearing this mask just to be wearing it. And then from a quest standpoint, I believe Kaife gives you this. And that's yet again part of a larger quest for the couple's mask, so I won't count that. Simply because I love the way it looks, I'm putting it here. Moving right along, I guess we'll go ahead and start eliminating these ones. So I did include the transformation masks. The first one being the Deku shrub. For those of you who don't know, who are still watching this for some reason, at the beginning of Majora's Mask, the Skull Kid curses Link and turns him into a Deku shrub, who basically, like, it makes you basically useless at the beginning of the game. You have to figure out how to transform back. That's the first part of the game. And once you do successfully do that and start traveling back in time, the Deku mask becomes available, and that lets you always turn back into the shrub form. As you progress through the game, you kind of piece together, at the end, I think, actually, during the end credits, so spoiler alert. You will see a kind of petrified Deku shrub right at the beginning area of the game where Link chases the Skull Kid. And you'll see the Deku Butler from the swamp there, and he looks as if he's mourning. So it's assumed that the Deku form you assume is that of his lost son. Because the other two masks, the transformation masks, are based on dead characters. All that said, though, useful. You're pretty much forced to use it during the swamp area and a couple other times during the game. Aesthetically, not my favorite Link. Not my favorite. Quest, you kind of just have. That's actually a fair consideration, because the first part of the game where you are the Deku Shrub, like, especially the first time you play it, like, for me, it was amazing. Like, it blew my mind. So I'm actually going to, based on that alone, I was going to put it like either here or here, but just because it is the first mask you get, and that first cycle, especially the first time you play through it, is so awesome to figure it out, I'll put it right there. So the Goron Mask. So the Goron Mask is actually, like, super duper useful, like, in a lot of portions of the game. In Goron form, you do a heck of a lot of damage. You can assume the Rolly form and go super fast. Like, if there's a point you need to get to where you can't warp to, like, or it's before you have the Song of Soaring, the Goron Mask will get you there, like, across the field, like, turn in a field so fast. Aesthetically, Goron Link's hilarious. Like, he uses his butt to attack. 10 out of 10. And the quest, actually, to get the mask, and you release, what was it? Daruni, I want to say? Releasing his spirit is actually, like, a really kind of somber, emotional thing. Like, his spirit is hanging out in the Goron city and is invisible, so you have to pull out the lens of truth, and when you do, you can see him, and his spirit guides you to his tomb across a bunch of invisible platforms, and he won't even accept his death then. It's really cool. It's really cool. I'm gonna put the Goron Mask up here. Like, out of the three transformations, it's easily the most useful. Aesthetically, it's hilarious. And the quest involved with it is really, really cool. So, Sora Mask. As far as usefulness goes, the Great Bay Area, you have to use it. It's great. You swim super fast. Outside of that area, not super useful. Aesthetically, it's cool. It's very Schveltelink. And I didn't mention this, I guess, with the other two transformation masks. When you're transformed, it does change what kind of instrument your ocarina is. And for him, it is a guitar made out of a fish. That's kind of cool. And the quest to get it, honestly, you're just kind of given it. Like, where the Goron Mask, there was actually kind of like a small quest involved in getting it. You pretty much just see a dead Zora, and then you soothe the spirit, and then you just get it. I'm gonna put a solid C. Like, out of the transformation masks, I always liked the Goron one the most. There are cool things about the Zora Great Bay Area that you do with the mask on. There's a little more to it than there was with the Goron Mask. But just from a purely, like, the criteria I've set forward, I think the Goron Mask is better. The Mask of Sense. So, basically, this is a gift you get from the butler, the Deku butler I mentioned earlier, after you complete the first temple. And you go through like a little trial, kind of like you did with Dante and the Ocarina of Time, chasing him through an area while he throws fire at you. You know, cool guy stuff. So this mask is really good at sniffing out magic mushrooms. Don't do drugs. So, the best thing about this mask, useful-wise, is if you're in the Stockpot Inn, and you go up to the, like, where the circus troupe is staying, you can find a pair of underwear that smell bad, and you can find a mushroom in them. It's weird. Aesthetically, it's actually very frightening, because you can see from the skin tone on it, it actually, like, blends perfectly in with Link's face. So he just looks like a weird goblin Link, so that's kind of cool, I guess. But yet again, it's not really super useful. So it's not useful. The quest to get it, it's not super great. Aesthetically, it's terrifying though. So I'll put it here because it is rather off-putting. The Mask of Truth. So in Majora's Mask, the Mask of Truth, it's not an item that is actually necessary to complete the game. Actually, a lot of the masks aren't. Honestly, I always put this mask off until like near the end. It's so there are spider houses throughout the game where you'll find all like the gold skolotas or skotolas. Skotulas. And your reward for doing the Swamp House one is the Mask of Truth. I'm trying to think of how useful this is in this game. I rarely use it, honestly. I know it lets you cheat at dog racing, which is pretty cool. So that's a use. Aesthetically, the Mask of Truth, it's okay. The quest to get it, I'm not a huge fan of. I'm going to rank it a solid C, though, because I feel like there are uses I'm forgetting. If you remember what they are, feel free to comment them below and tell me how dumb I am. The Gibdo Mask. Alright, so Gibdo Mask. Uses. Basically, it just lets you talk to the Gibdos in the well that you need to get into the Econo Temple. It'll make Gibdos leave you alone. I think that's about it. Aesthetically, it makes you look like a spoopy mummy, which is always great. The quest to get it, I'm actually a pretty big fan of. It is one of the more memorable moments from the game where you go into God, I'm so bad tonight at remembering characters' names. What is her name? Kyle, just put her name up there. But you go into her house and you basically have to sneak in. You have to lure her out, sneak inside, and then you find her dad in the basement, and he's been turned into a Gibdo because he's been doing research in the Econo Valley, which is like this creepy, haunted occult region of Termina. And she is keeping people out because she's afraid that either he'll attack them or they'll attack him. He'll attack you or you'll attack him. and it's just like this crazy moment, and then you play the Song of Healing, and it like reverts him back to normal, and you know, it's like this incredibly touching moment between a father and daughter, and it's just like awesome. And then you get this mask. Usefulness, it is required to beat the game in one specific area that's also super annoying unto itself. Appearance wise, it's a mummy mask. It's okay. But the story, yet again, the quest itself is the only thing putting it here for me. It is a really good moment in the game. The Postman's Hat. So the Postman's Hat is not very useful. It lets you look into mailboxes and Clock Town, and basically the first time you get a piece of heart, which is awesome. After that, I think you just get like random rupees. Doesn't really do much for you. The aesthetics, you put on a Postman's Hat. It has a little bunny on it, so that's cute. And then the quest to get it, basically as soon as it appears that the world's finally ending, the postman will get permission from the mayor's wife to leave town. And he's like, well, I don't need this anymore. And he just runs off and hands it to you. It's part of a larger quest line that you'll get this one in, and it's just not that useful. Not a great mask. I can never remember this guy's name either. I'm just going to have me constantly post characters' names above this as I forget them. Essentially, this is the mask of a dead dancer, and you will find him out in Termina Field on top of a frozen tree doing a very strange, provocative dance, and he will teach it to you, and once he's taught it to you, his spirit can move on. So then he makes this incredibly terrifying mask where it looks like he severed and shrunk his head and stuck it on top of yours. But it does let you do a really weird dance for the two dancers of the troupe in town, and they will give you a heart piece. I'm gonna put it. I'll put it here just because it is kind of funny. The song it plays is awesome. I will have been playing it the entire time I've been talking about this. And then for getting you have it on and then getting into an intense battle and just starting to dance out of nowhere is pretty funny. All right, moving on. The Gorman Brothers mask. This mask is amazing. So anyone who's played this or Ocarina of Time will recognize the Gorman Brothers. They're jerks, especially in this one. Basically, when you wear this mask, you can take two of the biggest jerks in the game. You can put on their brother's face, and you make them weep. And you can, like, click it quickly on and off, and just watch them go from, like, to... I don't know. It's hilarious. Hilarity goes a long way with me with these, so we'll put it at a D. We're getting pretty close. The Ninja Mask. I forget what it's called. I should have done a little research just a little bit before this. This is a really cool mask, and actually you do get this, I believe, from the Gorman Brothers. What this mask lets you do is when you're walking around Econo Valley, there are these spirits of this ancient ninja clan from Econo that will basically attack you and call you. They'll appear to you, call you master, and then realize that you're not their master, and they challenge you to a duel. And it's pretty intense. And once you kill them, they give you a little hint or piece of information. This is from the 3DS remake of the game. I prefer the original, but I just grabbed all these. sprites. I'll put it here because I really like the way this mask looks, especially the original one. Purely aesthetic. That's what got this high. And I mean, it's a mask, so aesthetics are important. The Giant's Mask. This is a hard one to rank. This is a mask you only really get to wear once ever, and then never again. But when you do wear it, it's freaking awesome. It makes you giant. So you can fight Twin Mold. It doesn't look super cool. I mean, it's hard to tell. Like, you only get to wear it once, so you don't get like get a bunch of really good angles on it or anything like that. I'm going to rank this as a B though, just because of how awesome it feels to wear it in that one fight. And also, you can hack the game and put it on outside of there and freeze your game. It's pretty cool. What is this one called? Is it the Moo Moo Mask? It's not the Moo Moo Mask. It's basically this mask. That mask will allow you to get into the bar in town and buy really powerful milk that will. I'm trying to remember if it gives you unlimited magic or not. It's okay. It makes you look like a cow. I don't have a whole lot to say about this one. I'm just putting it. Late game, it is pretty useful to go refill your bottles there. We are down to 5 masks, and that is it. All right. Kuip, the Kuip Mask. So, the biggest side quest in the entire game involves Kuip and Anju. Kuip is the son of the mayor of Clocktown, and Anju, her family owns the inn. And there's a huge overarching story that I will try not to give too much away of, in case you've not done it or played the game ever. But basically, this is one of the first masks you'll get, and Kuip's mother will give it to you so that you can gather information about him. I think the mask looks stupid. It's incredibly useful in that side quest, and that is the best side quest in the game. It's the longest side quest, but it is amazing. So I'm actually going to give it a rating kind of middle of the pack, just because of the fact that it's instrumental in getting that whole thing going. And then there is the mask you get at the end, the Couple's Mask. So I'm not going to give too much away again, but really the only thing that this mask does, once acquired, is it will allow you to get a heart piece from Kuip's father, the mayor. Other than that, it's just kind of weird looking. It is cool. I'll put it right there. I'll put those two right there. Just like, because that quest is so awesome. Alright. So we are down to our last 3 masks. And which ones, if any, will make the S tier? I'm going to tell you, 2 of these 3 are going to make the S tier. And I'm going to show you which one is not. So we have the Fierce Deity's Mask. So basically, at the end of the game, you are transported to the frickin' moon, and all these moon children wearing the masks of the boss you've already defeated have you go through trials, and if you go through all of them, you give away all the other masks you've acquired in the journey. You have to have all of them in order to do this. And if you do, you are rewarded with the Fierce Deity's Mask, which turns Link into a total crazy face-painted edgelord. And it's cool because it's incredibly useful in the final fight against Majora. You can go back and you can use it in every boss fight at every temple that you've already done. It's really cool. It is a really cool bonus for players who take the time to collect every mask before beating the game. Because it is possible to beat the game without it, or collecting every mask. So I'm going to put it in the A tier. It makes you look cool, it's useful. The quest is literally all quests to get all the masks, so we'll put it right there. But because it can only be used in boss battles, boss battles you've already beaten, it's not that useful. So my top 2 masks for Majora's Mask. First and foremost, the bunny hood. The bunny hood is the single most useful mask in the entire game. Like, if you are just normal Link, you are wearing this because it gives you a speed increase. And that's not just useful for travel, that's in platforming, in dungeons, in fights. It's amazing. Aesthetically, it's amazing. Like, you put on bunny ears, you basically look like the Link version of Louise from Bob's Burgers. It's awesome. You run, the little ears like flip back. It's awesome. The quest to get it. How do you get it? Alright, so at this point I've broken down, I did a little research. So actually, I'm gonna have to give the Brennan Mask a bump up because it is required. That is what you get for using the Brennan Mask to hatch all those chicks, is the bunny hood. So Brennan Mask, you got bumped up a spot simply for being associated with the bunny hood. Alright, which brings us to our final mask. And for those of you who have been keeping score at home, you might know what it is. It's the Stone Mask. The Stone Mask is amazing. So first of all, as far as usefulness goes, this mask is amazing. It makes so many enemies just ignore the fact that you're there. It makes you so plain looking that like they don't even register that you're there, which is awesome. Sneaking into the pirate fortress, gotta have it. It's hilarious to use in a lot of other situations. Aesthetically, it is hilarious. I love it. It just has this like derpy look to it. It's amazing, and the quest to get it is amazing. The first time I actually figured it out, like, so basically, walking into Econo Valley, there's like a group of stones, and there's like an invisible thing in the middle that you keep running into. Eventually, you get the Lens of Truth, and you find out it is a wounded soldier who complains about being so plain and boring that no one can see him and everyone ignores him. So he's just been sitting there. So you bring him a healing potion, he drinks it, and then he gives you this. And that is hilarious to me. And those two masks make up the majority of my playthrough of that game. Once I've acquired them, I'm wearing one of those two. And that will do it for my list there, guys. Tell me what you think down in the comments below if I missed anything. If you have a different list, like what's your favorite mask? Feel free to tell me. Tell me if you think I screwed up anywhere. Thank you guys so very much for watching. I'm Kyle, apparently.